What's up, YouTube? It's Owen the Wrestling Guy, and I'm here to bring you my reactions to the FastLane pay-per-view that happened this past Sunday. So we start things off with the kickoff show, and it's the same stuff as always. The promos, the dialogues, the debates. We had a conversation with AJ Styles asking him how he feels about the whole Kofi situation. Why would AJ Styles care about the Kofi situation? Well, I guess he does care because he gives his opinion and he says he feels bad about Kofi and he hopes he does get that championship opportunity. And then he is asked about Randy Orton, and AJ says he will handle Randy Orton in due time. Now, it has been advertised that on the kickoff show we'll have a match between Rey Mysterio against Andrade Cien Almas. That's right, I'm saying his full name. But instead we got something even better. As Carmella was backstage trying to sign people to a petition giving R-Truth a rematch because, there are no automatic rematches anymore. She's confronted by Zelina Vega, so while these two start to argue with each other, Samoa Joe comes in saying, listen, I don't care who it is. You can put in Andrade, you can put in R-Truth, you can put in Mysterio. I'll give each and every one of them a shot at my championship. So now we got a fatal four-way for the main show itself for the United States Championship. That's awesome! But we're not there yet. We still got a kickoff match to go through, and we've got the New Day versus Nakarusa. But before that match starts, someone backstage turns to Kofi and says, listen, Vince McMahon wants to meet you right now and talk to you about the WWE Championship. So Kofi wishes his two friends the best of luck, and he goes to see McMahon, and those two are off to their match. This was a good tag team matchup, but there were three things that really bothered me in this matchup. Number one, you're putting promos during the match. You had a goddamn hour to put in promos and all that stuff during the kickoff show. You decided to put two of them during the match? Why? Number two, Nakamura and Rusev. Nothing against these guys, but why are these guys a tag team? You got other tag teams. Use the tag team division. You got Sanity. You got the Good Brothers. You got the Colognes. I've been saying this for like years. Stop putting singles wrestlers into teams that don't belong there. You should have put them in title matches or on the main card, for God's sake. And number three, the finisher was not the up, up, down, down. The finisher was the midnight hour. How did people get that wrong? Those are two different combinations. But overall, this was a good tag team matchup from both sides, and the New Day pick up the win. So, we're starting things off, and it's the SmackDown Tag Team title match between Shane and The Miz, the best tag team in the world, taking on the current tag team champions, the Usos. This is a rematch from Elimination Chamber, and we're about to kick off. But first, Miz and Shane have to go to Miz's dad, who was sitting on ringside, and shake his hand and wish them good luck. This was a pretty good matchup, folks. Miz and Shane working good and showing very, very good, solid teamwork. They're doing that double shuffle thing, and they also had the heart attack maneuver. Afterwards, the Usos getting the advantage, and they're starting to pummel in on Shane without any mercy. Shane is able to get the hot tag to The Miz, who jumps up the top rope and lands on one of the Usos. Afterwards, he climbs up one of the turnbuckles, jumps to the outside on both Usos. It's pretty cool. Later on in the matchup, Miz is lying in the middle of the ring. One of the Usos is seated in the turnbuckle, and Shane goes for that famous Van Terminator shot of his, but the other Uso is climbing the other turnbuckle, and he threatens Shane. He says, if you jump off of your corner, I'm going to jump off of mine. Shane doesn't even flinch. The Uso jumps off the turnbuckle towards the Uso splash. Shane, it kicks him in midair. Spectacular spot. I just don't have any words. You just got to see it by yourself. Then The Miz is able to get back on his feet. He sees the Uso lying in the middle of the ring. He doesn't know what to do. He looks at his dad. His dad says, go up top, son. You can do it. The Miz listens to his dad, a guy that never wrestled a day in his life. Climbs up the top rope, tries to land on top of the Uso. The Uso holds his knees up. They hit The Miz. He gets rolled up. It's all over. The Usos retain the tag team championships. Afterwards, Shane tries to console Miz. They turn over to Miz's dad. They all raise their arms high in a show of solidarity. And then, out of nowhere, Shane does the heel turn we all expected him to do. He attacks The Miz. He pummels The Miz. He is all over him. Mrs. Dad just looks there in disbelief when Shane just goes over to Mrs. Dad. He starts to strangle him, and then he locks The Miz in that triangle chokehold. This thing was awesome. I was waiting for this thing to be over, but now I can't wait for these two to fight at WrestleMania. This is going to be awesome. Awesome match. After that great matchup to start off the pay-per-view, we get Elias, and we get the usual shtick, and he's insulting the crowd, he's insulting The Miz, and that's pretty much it. Nothing happens. Up next is the SmackDown Women's Championship matchup, as we get the Golden Goddess Mandy Rose facing the Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka. Out of all the matches on this pay-per-view, I was afraid for this one. I was afraid because I thought this match would not get enough time to shine. I thought this matchup would not get a decent amount of time to tell its story and have a good matchup, but luckily I was wrong. The match was good, a competitive matchup between both competitors. Mandy has really shown how far she has progressed ever since she started on Tough Enough. This match was a really good match. The ending came when Sonya Deville, who tried to help Mandy Rose out, pulled out a kendo stick from under the ring, but while doing so, she lifted up the apron and it stayed in the ring itself. Mandy went to run into the ropes, but he tripped on the apron straight into an Asuka kick to the face, and man, that looked painful. After that, it was a 1-2-3. Asuka retains the SmackDown Women's Championship, and now we got a situation between Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, and I'm really hoping this doesn't break these two up. We're heading backstage where Kofi still waits to have his talk with Vince McMahon about the championship match. The New Day come in and they say, what the hell's going on? Why come you haven't spoken to McMahon yet? Kofi tells him he's been waiting for an hour. They barge into his office. Vince McMahon hangs up the phone and asks Kofi, where have you been? I've been waiting here for an hour. Anyways, after that, Big E and Xavier plead with Vince McMahon, asking and pleading him, please let Kofi have his championship matchup. He deserves this. He's been waiting 11 years. Vince looks at Kofi and says, you know what? You've changed my mind. Tonight's match will be a triple threat match for the WWE Championship. And Kofi, your match is next. It's a new day, yes it is. The music hits. Kofi runs to the ring. He's ready to have his championship matchup. The announcer said this match is a triple threat match. And one of the producers turns to the announcer. And the announcer's talking to the producer, and then he says, my apologies. The championship match is later on in the night. This match is a handicap match between Kofi and these two gentlemen. And it's the Vitruvian Man of Da Vinci. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's the Bar. So apparently this is a handicap matchup where both members of the Bar are allowed in the ring at the same time. And you know what happens next? They just pummel in Kofi. Kofi tries to fight back, but it doesn't work. And they pummel him, and they beat him. 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 The New Day comes in trying to save the day, but they get stopped by Nakamura and Rusev. So Kofi gets beaten some more. And this match is finally over. The Bar beat Kofi. What was the point of this? After the Kofi beatdown, we got Elias again. And he does the same thing, same shtick. He's insulting the crowd, he's insulting Kofi. And that leads to nowhere. The next matchup is the Raw Triple Threat Tag Team title matchup between Aleister Black and Ricochet, Glorious Gable, and The Revival. And I gotta say, this match basically saved the Raw Tag Team division for me. This match was awesome from all three teams involved. Ricochet and Aleister doing that double backflip, showing some quick maneuvers inside the ring. Chad Gable is insanely strong with that O'Connor roll into a German suplex and then dash flying off the top rope. Seriously, this match was great. This match was really, really good. And another crazy spot near the end where Ricochet does a Hurricanrana on top of the wrestlers to the outside, and then does an entire flip to the outside on one of the, I think it was Bobby Roode, I believe. Afterwards, Chad Gable tries to take advantage of Dawson. It doesn't work. Then Revival win the matchup with the Shatter Machine. Afterwards, Bobby Roode's all upset, trying to attack the Revival. Aleister comes into the ring, fade to black to the face of Bobby Roode. And then Ricochet hits that thick 630 into Dash, and they stand tall, but the Revival are still your tag team champions. Up next, the Fatal 4-Way for the United States Championship between the current champions Samoa Joe, R-Truth, Andrade Cien Almas, I'm still saying his full name, and Rey Mysterio. You thought the SmackDown match was good. This match was like 5 times even better. It's like they had us a little preview on SmackDown and it's just kept the whole movie premiere to this pay-per-view matchup. This match was phenomenal. Samoa Joe just bulldozing over his competition. Rey Mysterio does some amazing stuff. He did a double hurricanrana on top of R-Truth and Andrade. Andrade flying to the outside onto Samoa Joe. His feud with Mysterio continues with him doing the Three Amigos as a mock taunt to Eddie Guerrero. Then Zelina Vega tries to interfere and she gets hit by Carmella. They're going at it on the outside. And then the ending came with Samoa Joe clinging into Rey with that Coquina clutch. And Samoa Joe is able to retain the United States Championship. A good decision here, on my opinion. And still, this match rocked. Seriously. Up next is the Women's Tag Team title matchup between the Boston Hot Connection, Sasha Banks and Bayley, taking on Nia and Tamina. Which, by the way, are not called the Samoan Slaughterhouse. That was the nickname they gave the Elimination Chamber. People get that mixed up. Well, pretty solid matchup, pretty good matchup between the two teams. In the end, Bayley and Banks are able to retain the tag team titles after Bayley hits Nia with a hurricanrana and a roll-up for the win. Afterwards, the heels attack the baby faces all over the place. They're throwing him onto the announcers' tables. And here's where things really started to pick up. Beth Phoenix, who was sitting at ringside doing commentary, was confronted by Tamina. They started a little bit of a stare down, and then Beth Phoenix just slugged her in the face. Nia sees that, she intervenes, she attacks Beth Phoenix, rolls her into the ring, lands a leg drop there all over her, and before Tamina is able to hit her with that Samoan splash, Natalya runs in for the rescue, but she is not able to help her much. That is for no avail. And Nia and Tamina standing tall after attacking both Beth Phoenix and Natalya and the Boston Hot Connection, and we'll see how this goes. Maybe Beth and Natalya will team up once again to face Nia and Tamina in Mania? Could be interesting. Up next, we still the triple threat for the WWE Championship, and your competitors are the champion Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, and the third guy is Mustafa Ali, which is kind of surprising. But here's the thing. You announced Owens versus Bryan for the WWE Championship, so everybody assumed that Kofi would get his match down the line at WrestleMania maybe. And then when you said he's going to be in this matchup tonight, it's going to be a triple threat, and then you did what you did, you almost... Of course the people are going to sour over the matchup. It doesn't matter who you put in instead. And they put in Mustafa Ali, and the guy didn't deserve to get those rounds of boos at the beginning. Luckily, this crowd was a smart crowd, and he was appreciative of seeing this matchup unfold in front of him. He gave a good support to all three competitors, to Owens and to Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali was phenomenal in this matchup. The reverse hurricanrana to Kevin Owens, the top rope C4 to Daniel Bryan, the 450 on top of Bryan when he was lying near the apron. Amazing work. Kevin Owens doing another tribute to Stone Cold Steve Austin with a stunner. I think it's his finisher now, whatever. It still works for him. And then the ending came when Mustafa tried to climb up the top rope. He tried to fly off into Bryan, and Bryan just hit him with a knee that looks stiff. And Bryan retains here. And luckily, this will lead to Kofi getting his one-on-one shot at WrestleMania. Up next, the story for the ages. Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch. If Becky wins, she is added to the championship match at WrestleMania, and it's going to be Charlotte versus Becky versus Ronda Rousey. Let's see how this goes, shall we? Charlotte comes to the ring first, and out comes Becky, and I swear to God, if this story could not have been more absurd, she comes to the ring with a crutch. She is basically limping to the ring. She has bandages on her arm from the attack that she suffered from Rousey. She has a bad leg. She's basically... What? So Becky's there with one leg apparently, and she's trying to fight Charlotte, but it doesn't work. Charlotte gets the advantage, works on the leg, she works on it, she locks her in a half Boston Crab, pulls away backwards, and Becky looks like a pretzel in this point. This is absurd. Seriously, this is absurd. Charlotte locks in the figure four. Becky is almost tapping out when out of nowhere Ronda Rousey shows up. walks into the ring, attacks Becky Lynch, and the referee calls for the bell. Becky wins by disqualification. She will be at WrestleMania and making this matchup a triple threat matchup. Oh yeah, and even though this made sense, look at it this way. Ronda Rousey, the heel, helped the face, the babyface Becky, get into the WrestleMania matchup. Still doesn't make any sense, but I'll take it as it is. At least we got the triple threat match now, so for the love of God, make it stop. Seriously, Becky Lynch is like the Monty Python sketch of the Black Knight. No arms, no legs, I can still go. Yeah, just like that. After the Becky-Charlotte match, we get Elias again. And he does the exact same thing. It's the third time in this pay-per-view. So yeah, he does the same shtick. He insults the crowd. He insults Becky. And then we get the payoff. It's Lacey Evans? Really? That's the payoff? No, it's not, because an RKO out of nowhere. Randy Orton lays out Elias with an RKO, and then out of nowhere, it's AJ Styles with a phenomenal forearm. And AJ standing tall, and that signals that these two guys are heading to WrestleMania to face each other. Yeah, I want to see that match. Main event time, as we have Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley taking on The Shield. The Shield doing their last time reunion tour. This is it, folks. You'll never see them again. Until next time, I guess. And in the words of Michael Cole, it's vintage Shield. It's vintage all the way. We got the Shield coming in through the crowds. We got the Shield doing a face-to-face standoff with the heels in the ring. They're doing a slugfest. Ambrose getting hits in. Rollins getting hits in. Roman getting hits in. And later on in the matchup, Drew McIntyre tries to put Roman through a table, but the Shield intervene, they stop it, and then it's the entire Shield putting Drew McIntyre through a table. They're doing the same thing to Baron Corbin, and it's over. The Shield win, and they're doing the fist bump for one last time. You'll never see it again. But joking aside, this was a good matchup. This is, you could say like a house show worthy matchup, except it's accelerated 2 times more. Good matchup by both teams. They performed really well. There was a crazy spot by Rollins jumping from another balcony on top of the heels and Ambrose. This was a good matchup. To say it was worthy of the main event instead of the other storylines going on, I wouldn't say that. But you know, it's Roman's comeback. It's their last time performing together, so I get why this was the main event. Overall, not a bad pay-per-view. This was a really good pay-per-view, I gotta say. 2 minor things, the whole Kofi thing, we don't need it. He's already over, the people want him, you don't need to do that. Don't tease us that he's gonna be in the match and then take him away. You're trying to ruin your own pay-per-view, what the hell's wrong with you? The whole Becky-Charlotte thing, that was absurd. Seriously, that was just hysterical, that was bonkers. Well, at least he got that triple threat match now, so just please leave it alone. Very good solid points was the Fatal 4-Way with Samoa Joe, the Raw Tag Team title match, the SmackDown Women's title matchup, the opener, Shane McMahon and The Miz against the Usos, the heel turn out of nowhere, that thing was awesome. The pre-show match with the New Day against Nakarusev, and the women's tag title match was good, and the main event was solid. Overall grade, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. Very good pay-per-view, very good beginning to the real road to WrestleMania. This is there 4 weeks from now. Let's see how you do. For the love of God, please don't ruin this. That is it for me. My apologies for not doing my weekly review. Last week I was unfortunately under the weather. But hopefully this weekend I will do my weekly review on all WWE programming. Also, I'll be doing a video on the New Japan Cup to see who advanced to the quarterfinals and to give my thoughts about the whole tournaments thus far. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.